Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Thursday, April 24th, 2025. And just apologies first off if there is a wind coming through the microphone. It is, there's a bit of gusty wind happening this morning, coming from all directions. So I'm sure it'll be fine. But again, apologies if you can hear it there. There's some there. All right, big night. Last night we did the Jeff Fenech Dream Fight show, renamed from In Focus. Just thought Dream Fights is probably a better name considering that's what we're actually doing. So I'll get into the results of that in a sec. But on this day, a few to get through actually. First of all, the great Roger Mayweather was born today. Of course, he passed away a few years back now, but the uncle of Floyd Mayweather, but also a two-time world champion in his own right. He won the WBC 130-pound title and the WBC 140-pound title. I don't think he ever won anything at lightweight, and unfortunately, both times lost his titles to Julio Cesar Chavez. So he thought he might have got away from him after losing to him at 130, but Chavez came up to 140 and beat him again for his 140-pound title. So it was his birthday today, and hopefully he found some peace as well, because he had a pretty rough illness at the end as well, did Roger Mayweather, but great trainer and a great character of the sport. Of course, he was the one that rolled out the line, you don't know shit about boxing. So, well, he said it a lot better than that, but you know what I mean. All right, also on this day, 1971, in Tampa, Florida, light heavyweight champion Bob Foster defended his WBC light heavyweight title against Ray Anderson, won on points over 15 rounds. A couple, I'll just go to the main ones. There's a few to get through, but where are the other one? 1999, Manny Pacquiao knocked out Mexico's Gabriel Mira in the fourth round to defend the WBC flyweight title, and that fight took place in the Philippines. 2004, Vitaly Klitschko won the WBC heavyweight title with a knockout of Corey Sanders in 8 rounds. Now that fight took place, where was it? Staples Center in LA. In 2004, Jorge Arce, the Mexican legend, knocked out Melchor Cobb Castro in 5 rounds for the WBC light flyweight title. What else we got there? 2010, Mikel Kessler, we know him here in Australia. He came here and beat Anthony Mundine. He beat Carl Froch on points for the WBC super middleweight title. A couple more there. 2015, Badou Jack, who's still going at the moment. I won't say he's going strong, but he's still going. He's got a fight coming up soon. I think that's on the Canelo card, isn't it? Canelo and Skull card, and hopefully he gets a crack at Jai Opetaia or vice versa at some stage. He defended his WBC super middleweight title, considering now he's got the WBC cruiserweight title. It's a big jump, isn't it? But he defeated Anthony Durrell on points in Chicago, Illinois, of course, in the States. And one last one, not more than a couple, it was 4 years ago. Japanese warriors Kenshiro Terashi and Tetsuya Hisada fought, and Terashi won on points in Osaka, Japan. So that's what happened on this day in history. All right, so as I said last night, we did the Dream Fights with Jeff Fenech. It's a really good, it's a really good fun actually, and I know a lot of people sort of just starting to cotton on now. We've done Alexander Usyk and Terence Crawford, who's in Australia next month, by the way. Check out, I think I put it on Instagram last night, the clip from Terence Crawford. He's here from the 26th of May until the 31st of May. He's going to be doing shows on the Gold Coast, Sydney, and in Melbourne. So a great job by Grant Tassie Brown to get him out here. And tickets are now on sale as far as I know. And I'm going to get Tassie on Monday night on Talking Boxing for a quick chat to tell us all about it. So keep a lookout for that. So the fights. All right, so the way it works, by the way, if you haven't seen it, quick overview of the career of the fighter. Last night, of course, as I said, it was Jeff Fenech. And then we match him up with 10 great fighters from the past and see how we would have went in those fights, and also put the poll up Instagram. Now, I haven't got the exact results. I know who the fans voted for, but I haven't got the exact percentages, so I apologise for that. I forgot to bring them with me. But first of all, there's no particular order. We had Juan Manuel Marquez was the first one. I thought Marquez would be a little bit strong for, or not strong, but a little bit more skilled, I suppose, for Jeff Fenech and get the job done. The poll actually did go for Marquez as well, so they agree with me. Manny Pacquiao. I thought Manny Pacquiao might be a bit slick for Jeff. The poll agreed as well and went for Manny Pacquiao. This is the featherweight version of Manny Pacquiao, by the way, not the welterweight or 140-pound versions. This win goes on. The other one was Prince Nassim Hamed. I actually think Jeff would win this one. I think he'd get in there and out-muscle Prince Nassim. I think Prince Nassim was made to look good by a lot of inferior opposition. Jeff Fenech could be all over him. I think he'd win on points. And the poll agreed. They had Jeff winning that fight. Barry McGuigan, I thought this was the most clear-cut one. I thought Jeff would be far too strong and hard for Barry McGuigan. And the poll agreed and went for Jeff. Eric Morales. Now, I did actually go for Jeff in this one as well. I thought he would, again, his work rate and strength and everything inside would be a bit too much for Morales, and the poll agreed. Then it got a little bit tough for Jeff after this one. We matched him up with Naoya Inoue. Now, I think I actually might have went for Jeff in this fight. Now, a lot of people, I'm sure, would go, what the hell are you thinking? There's no way Jeff would beat Inoue. But you've got to remember, at 122, Jeff was an absolute beast. Very, very strong. That was when he was at his peak, I think. Arguably at 126, but I think at 122 he was a monster. Excuse the pun. And I'm not sure whether Inoue would have had his power would have been enough to get Jeff at that weight. Remember, he came up for I think 108. I think did Inoue. So I actually went for Jeff now, and I'm pretty sure the poll agreed with that. I can't remember. I think the poll actually went for Inoue in that one. A couple more there. Wilfredo Gomez. I actually thought this might be the one fight where Jeff would maybe get knocked out. Wilfredo Gomez, the bazooka. A lot of people don't know a lot about Wilfredo, but I can tell you that he was a beast in his own right as well. The sole defeat was against Salvador Sanchez, but he could punch, and I just think Jeff's style coming would have been all wrong for him, and Wilfredo Gomez might have possibly knocked Jeff out, but the poll disagreed. They went for Jeff Fenech. A couple more there. Salvador Sanchez, who I just mentioned. I think that Salvador Sanchez would be far too skilled and smart and slick and just a bit of everything for Jeff. Unfortunately, that one, I think he would probably stop Jeff, not knock him out, but just probably stop him. Worst case, a clear-cut decision. And the poll agreed, and the chat, and everyone agreed that Salvador Sanchez would beat Jeff Fenech. And a couple more. Vasily Lomachenko was the other one, and I think, again, this was a pretty clear-cut one for me. I just think the angles and the speed and the footwork and you name it from Vasily Lomachenko would be far too much for a real sort of battler in Jeff. Jeff was that real guy who just came forward, and I just think that was custom-made for Loma, and he would win a clear-cut decision over Jeff. And then the last one was Marco Antonio Barrera. This would have been a tough fight as well. The poll suggested that, on the last one too, the poll was well in favour of Lomachenko. So I think it was like 89% or something. And Marco Antonio Barrera, I think Jeff can win that fight. 122 to 126, I think he could win. I think he'd out-muscle Marco Antonio Barrera. And the poll agreed and went for Barrera as well. So what do you think? Give me your thoughts on that. It's an interesting one. It's a lot of fun to do, I will say, but it's very, very difficult. Very difficult. And the results sort of polarise everybody. Everyone's got their own opinions of who would win and why. Last night was a little bit more clear-cut than probably the ones we've done in the last two we've done before that with Usyk and Crawford, especially Crawford, who is matched up with the likes of Duran and Chavez and Mayweather and Leonard and these types of guys. That was really hard. But as I said, it's a bit of fun. And next week we're going to do Saul Canelo Alvarez. And the request, I think, after that, I just put it out there to everyone. What do you guys think? And I think the overwhelming sort of response was Costa Tszyu. So we might do Costa, and some of the fights that he would possibly have, like Whitaker and Duran and Chavez. Oh, he fought Chavez, didn't he? But Camacho, even guys like Ricky Hatton, Vinny Pazienza. I mean, they would have been really entertaining fights. So we'll see how we go with that. But Aaron Prize, obviously another one. Who else would there be? There's so many he could fight anyway. But we'll have a look at that in a couple of weeks' time. That's Costa Tszyu. Now, yesterday the card for Tasman Fighters event on the 8th of June was updated. I think it's updated anyway. They released a few more fights. Austin Akuso is on that card. He's fighting Ikenna Enyi. Now, I don't know much about Ikenna Enyi, except he's 2-0. That's all. He's only had 2 fights. Austin Akuso is 8-0. Also on that card was Max McIntyre, Ricky Warren, which we knew about, Danny Keating, Blake Minto, Tyler Blizzard, and Rocky Ogden. That should be a good fight. Ben Mahoney, Jofa Montano, Connor Wallace, Dylan Collin, which I'm looking forward to seeing Connor again. He's such an entertaining fighter, is Connor Wallace. Gets in there and gets the crowd up and going, and he's a warrior too. And then the main event, of course, Jai Pataya and Claudio Scuayo. Now, it's interesting that Jai had to also walk back a few of his comments, which surprised me. He said that because I think when the fight was first announced, he said the fight was bullshit. And I think a lot of people said, we'll sort of asked him to clarify, and he said, look, I wasn't saying that Scuayo is not talented, he's not deserving. He just said, I just want the big fights. And when I first got told I was going to fight Scuayo, I wasn't happy with that fight. I wanted Zerto or Badu Jack, but he's got Scuayo. So again, I think I've said on here, he's just got to be patient. The fight will come. He'll beat Scuayo on June 8th. Zerto will get past his fight. Now, is that in July? I think it is. With who's he fighting? Dorticos. So he'll get past him, and then hopefully we'll get that fight later on in the year on a Saudi event or Riyadh event over there in Saudi Arabia. Now, we've got the big fight this week: Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. Now, it is now officially a sellout. I think they did say it was a sellout within sort of a week or so of it being announced, or when tickets went on sale. That wasn't the case. Apparently the tickets were quite expensive. A lot of the packages were expensive as well. But this was announced yesterday that they have officially sold it out. By all accounts too, they discounted the tickets by about 25% to get rid of the tickets. And this is what happens in a lot of these big fights that you don't hear about, especially ones with 20, a bit different when there's 20 odd thousand. They sell out pretty quick with the big events. But when you've got 65,000 tickets available, you got to do what you got to do. And it doesn't look good when you've got empty seats on TV. So they've discounted the tickets and got rid of them. But I was interested to see that Kell Brook, they did an interview with Kell Brook, of course, the former welterweight champion, who's been retired for about 3 years now, since he beat Amir Khan. And also the partner and father of Ebony Bridges, the baby together. I think that was only a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? They had their baby. So he's actually said he will be willing to come out of retirement to fight the winner, which would be another massive fight over there. But I'm not sure whether people would buy that. It's been hard enough with the Eubank Jr. and Ben. I think the English fans love it. The rest of the fans around the world who haven't really been involved in the rivalry over the years aren't really stressed. I mean, apparently the pay-per-view sales in the States haven't been great. This is just rumours, by the way, because I don't actually release the numbers until a month or so after, I think, or a few weeks anyway. But reports are that the pay-per-views in America haven't sold and around the world. But this is an English thing. It really is. I mean, it's a bit like, say, Zarafa and Tim Tszyu fight here. The rest of the world isn't going to give a shit, but here in Australia it will be massive. Now, probably a little bit like Mundine and Green was. The rest of the world, it was an insignificant fight around the world, but here it's probably the biggest fight of all time. And you would say that Eubank and Ben is the same. I've got no dramas with that. And I think the promoters sort of realise that because they put an all English undercard on as well. They know it's an English event and they have to appeal to the English fans. And I suppose, just like here, you put a big pay-per-view on, you want all the Aussie fights on underneath it, help sort of sell the card and put an Aussie flavour to it. Well, they're doing the same thing, so I haven't really got an issue with that. I'm actually looking forward to the fight. Strangely enough, it hasn't been one that I've really you know, when it was announced, I thought this was, you know, a blockbuster. But I think it's actually going to be a really good fight. I think Conor Benn wins, which is sort of differs in the opinion of a few other people out there who say that Eubank's going to be too big and experienced. But I just think Conor Benn, his youth, his exuberance, his strength, his power. Not that he's really, I don't think power is going to be a massive issue against a big guy like Eubank, but I think it's going to be entertaining, and I'm certainly looking forward to it more than I am Canelo and Skull the week after. I'm not looking forward to that card at all. Now, I've bought it as part of the package. I mean, it's Canelo. We've got to get the fight, don't we? And it's on at a pretty good time. If this was a Riyadh card where it started at 3 in the morning with Canelo, I doubt I would buy it. But it starts, I think the card starts here at 9 o'clock in the morning or something. So, yeah, I'll watch that. But, yeah, it's the card itself is very underwhelming. The Friday night card in the States should be pretty good, though. Garcia and the Haney card. Now, just on that, the WBA belt is now on the line. The regular belt is on the line for Garcia and Romero. Now, considering that neither one of these guys have ever fought at 147, does it surprise you? It doesn't surprise me. They haven't fought at 147, but they're going to fight for the regular title. Now, Jaron Boots Ennis has been elevated to, is it the Super Champion or whatever the hell they call it these days? I just get confused with all the different names, but he's been elevated. So this fight will be for the regular title, which I think is just ridiculous. As I said, neither one has fought at 147. I'm not sure either one of them was even ranked, were they? How do you get a ranking in a division you've never fought in, let alone fight for the belt? Well, that's WBA for you. Just a ridiculous sanctioning body they are, and this probably highlights it. And I'd read that the way he tried to, this is Mendoza, the president, tried to describe it or explain it, didn't do a great job. This is the same guy, by the way, who was going to put up a belt. Thankfully, he backtracked on it, but he was going to put a belt up for Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So that probably shows what a Mickey Mouse sanctioning body the WBA is. Now, one other fight looks like happening soon is the Tank Davis and Lamont Roach rematch. Now, there was talk that was going to be June 21, but they're now saying it could be in July, if not August. So I've got a feeling this is why the George Kambosos and Richardson Hitchens fight hasn't been announced, because from what I heard from a very good source, that they originally Kambosos and Hitchens was going to be on June 21st, but because Davis and Roach was also going to be on that date, they were going to move it to another a date, but they weren't sure when. It was going to be earlier or later. If anything, it was going to be earlier. And now I think this has been announced, and Davis and Roach will be pushed back. I've got a feeling you will now see Kambosos and Hitchens on that date, on June 21st in New York, which is not good for me, because I was sort of looking at the possibility of going if Kambosos and Hitchens was the week before on the 14th, because the Hall of Fame is the week before. But anyway, it is what it is. Once it's announced, I'll make up my mind what I'm going to do. Just on that International Boxing Hall of Fame, I read an article yesterday. We know about Vinny Pazienza and Manny Pacquiao being inducted, but also Michael Nunn is being inducted, and he's a really unsung hero as well. He was a real superstar back in the day at middleweight. He beat Olympian Frank Tate for the title. He had great wins over Iran Barkley, Marlon Starling, Donald Curry, Sambu Kalambe, who were knocked out in one round, and then lost to James Toney. Went to prison on drug charges, came back. I think he's won I think he won titles at super middleweight, maybe even light heavyweight as well, or at least fought for titles there anyway. But I'm really looking forward to seeing him getting inducted as well. Yes, he did the wrong thing, went to jail for it, but as a fighter, just a sensational fighter back in the day. Michael's second to none. And I just wonder what he could have been if he hadn't been knocked out by Toney. He was on the way to superstardom and fought the unknown Toney at that stage. And that was, of course, the launch of James Toney's legendary career as well. So I'm happy to see Michael Nunn being inducted as well, along with Manny Pacquiao and Vinny Pazienza. But we'll see what happens about going over there. I'd love to go. I mean, it's the Pac-Man, which would be awesome. And of course, the Pazman, my favourite non-Aussie pro fighter of all time, the Pazman. So we'll see what happens there. But guys, look, that's going to do it for today. Hope you have a great Thursday. Get ready for another long weekend. We'll catch you tomorrow.